Today on an all-new Dr. Phil. We're dealing with a generation gap. Do you know what this is?
I know you have to spin each dial and then spin it back.
It's boomers.
We are on TikTok, a younger generation of people that are saying go back to Facebook. I was surprised we learned how to block people. So
Versus Zoomers.
You're leaving us $31 trillion in debt. We will be paying off what you guys enjoyed for the rest of our life.
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
stand by. We'll count you down.
Today is going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
Get ready to take care of you. What everything is up here, but I guarantee you at least one half of my audience is not going to get a perfect score. At least anyone born after 1997 certainly won't get a perfect score. So let's give it a try. I need a volunteer. You're handy. How about you? Come right up. All right, what's your name?
Shoshi.
Shoshi?
Nice to meet you.
I'm Dr. Phil.
Nice to meet you.
I bet you already knew that.
I did. I'm a big fan.
We're going to have a test. I want you to look around. Do you know what this is?
Holds recipes, maybe? Or phone numbers? Is that like an address book,
Yeah.
maybe?
See, I couldn't live without this when I was your age. This is called a Rolodex.
Okay. Rolodex.
And you see it's got like letters of the alphabet. Anybody over here know what this is?
Yes, sir.
Of course, Rolodex. You had to have it, right?
Yeah.
This now has been compressed into your phone.
Okay. That makes sense.
So think about this being sucked into your phone. Do you know what this is?
You know, I can't say that I do. I'm
Can't say
really
you
doing
do?
poorly at this game.
No, you're doing poorly. This is, you guys know what this is?
Yeah.
You don't even have to look close, do you?
No.
This is an 8-track tape.
Didn't know
You used
that.
to put this in your car. You have no idea what it
I've
was.
never seen that before in my life.
Yep. Well, hold one. See, now
Okay.
you say you've held an 8-track tape.
An 8-track tape. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. You know what this is?
A phone?
Of course it's a phone.
Yeah.
But what kind of phone?
I forgot what it's called, but I know you. A rotary. Is it a rotary?
A
phone?
rotary phone. All right. Do you know your phone number?
Yeah. Oh God. I've
Okay.
never done this before.
How would you call yourself?
I know you have to spin each dial and then spin it back, right? Should I try?
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Okay. Oh God. Oh, already.
Well, you might want to pick it up.
Oh, okay.
first.
I didn't know that it unlocked it. Okay. I don't know how to do it.
You don't know how to do it.
Oh, it was. Oh, okay. Okay.
No, it's not locked. What do you do? What number are you dialing?
3. Did that go to 3? Do we think?
Well, I don't know. What did you do?
This is the pointing thing supposed to point there?
It has nothing to do with
Oh no. Okay.
it. Man, it's a good thing you're not calling 911 because you'd be out of luck, girl.
Do you have one of these in your home?
I don't.
So then I feel like we're all safe, right?
But I have had. See, here's how this works. If you wanted to dial a 3, you would put your finger in the 3 and dial it,
That makes sense.
and then let it go. Okay, you know what to do with this?
Talk into it.
Yeah. Okay, you know which end?
This end. You're talking.
I don't know. I'm asking.
I'm positive. This is where you talk, right? Okay.
Yeah, you're right
I
about
figured
that.
that part out.
This is going to be tough. Come around here.
Okay.
How about these?
These? Encyclopedias
Now, what are those for?
to look up words in.
No, that's the dictionary.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I don't know what this is, honestly. Some sort of.
Anybody know what an encyclopedia is over here?
Well,
Yeah, it has information, like different subjects and stuff.
She said information on different subjects and stuff. Yeah?
Isn't it like the old version of Google?
Yeah. He said the old version of Google. Yeah. They used to come around and sell these to you door to door. The encyclopedia salesman, and they would bring one, and you'd open it up and it had pictures and everything in it, and they were obsolete by the time you got them paid for. You had to have a new set. But if you were like really well-to-do, you could have those and didn't have to go to the library. You could look them up. Okay, how about this?
it's a typewriter.
Exactly.
Knew that one.
Yeah, I gave you one that you would know.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. And you know this one.
That's a record player.
Okay.
They're coming back into style now, so.
Yeah, they are. She did pretty well, don't you think?
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, have a seat. All right, now, that's how much things have changed. In case you haven't figured it out, we're dealing with a generation gap today. Now, in the audience, we have baby boomers, aged 58 to 76, and Gen Z, aged 10 to 25-year-olds, sometimes referred to as Zoomers. So, boomers and Zoomers. Now, with 50 years in between these two generations, there are so many publicized differences that the hashtag OKBoomer has been used over 3.7 billion times on social media to mock baby boomers. Now, Gen Z blames boomers for the current economic, political, and ecological climate. Now, that's a generalization. Not all people of that age do. On the other hand, a lot of baby boomers feel that the younger generation does not have a work ethic, is too sensitive, entitled, and sits on social media all day, expecting to get everything handed to them. Take a look.
Okay, boomer is ageist.
The term in itself erases the entire experience of a whole generation.
Older generations create problems that younger generations have to solve.
I feel as though there have been a lot of issues that we've had to kind of take on, such as the environment, such as a lot of wars that we had nothing to do with.
And I do think that's sort of true of every generation. You have to deal with the world that your parents gave you.
I trust the values of the other generation.
I don't trust the younger generation because I don't even think they know what it is that they value.
In terms of policy, it was your generation that got it wrong so many times, and we're trying to get that back.
Now, with me are generational speaker, author, and expert Megan Johnson, Gen Z content creator with over 5.5 million followers on social media, Brian the Diamond, Gen Z journalist and policy correspondent at the Foundation for Economic Education, Brad Polumbo, and baby boomer and art professor to Gen Z students, John Volpaccio. Now, also joining us virtually is someone that I am a fan of, attorney and president of the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, and co-author of The Coddling of the American Mind, How Good Intentions and Bad Ideas Are Setting Up a Generation for Failure. And this is Greg Luke Yanov. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. This generation, you talk about being coddled. What do you mean by that?
Well, it's kind of funny. I'm not a big fan of the title of my own book. I wanted to call it Disempowered because the argument we're making is that we have taught the younger generation, particularly Gen Z, the mental habits of anxious and depressed people, and therefore we shouldn't actually be surprised that we have a genuine mental health crisis. I mean, we're talking about a 109% increase in suicide for boys from 2010 to 2020, and 134% increase in suicide between 2010 and 2020 for girls. And to be clear, I actually think this is our fault. And one of the things we recommend in the book is learning from the wisdom of cognitive behavioral therapy, because the dysfunctional way of thinking, where you exaggerate the dangers, when you catastrophize, when you overgeneralize, that is a formula for an unhappy life.
Well, you say maybe we're to blame for this. I've got a big question. It is, are we, particularly in college, are we preparing this generation to face the real world?
No. I actually think we're teaching them things that will make it much worse, that will increase suffering. In Coddling the American Mind, we talk about it's as if we are teaching a generation three great untruths. What doesn't kill you makes you weaker, obviously a dangerous thing to believe. Always trust your feelings, which sounds nice, but is completely wrong. And life is a battle between good people and evil people. And if you believe these three things, no wonder anxiety and depression is through the roof.
Yeah, of course. Now, Brian, why are you proud to be a Gen Zer?
I feel like it's
It's just, in my opinion, and I don't want to offend any baby boomers, but I like that, for example, if I want information right now, I can go on my phone, type in keywords, and I'll find it in the snap of my fingers. I also feel like my generation is just a little bit more accepting. I mean, I'm a gay man, I wear acrylic nails. My generation, I don't really see them like scrutinizing me for my nails or anything, but like some of my family members didn't really understand it at first. So I feel like maybe my generation is just a little bit more open and accepting.
Really?
I think so.
Just a little.
Just a little.
Really? More open and accepting. Why do you say that?
Well, I just think about when you guys were in high school, how would an openly gay person have been treated compared to our generation?
Oh, they wouldn't be openly gay.
Well, sure. Right. And I think that there's a lot of progress that has been made for the good. And when boomers harken back to the good old days, they often don't think about what the good old days were like for people who aren't like themselves.
Baby boomers were taught to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but we'll discuss why Gen Z believes that belief is outdated, unrealistic, and really doesn't work anymore. We'll be right back. Who feels that Gen Z is more fragile?
I don't think we're fragile.
I don't think Generation Z is fragile.
I feel like we're just wanting to be heard. I don't think that makes us fragile.
Hey besties, what's up? I am about to leave the Diamond Palace to go on my road trip to LA.
If you're planning to do a road trip anywhere, rent a Tesla, like take an electric car, because driving on autopilot, like it's asking me to do a lane change right now, will literally just change the lanes for me. So look at this right now on the road. There's like those little wind fans. Also, I'm watching my favorite show, Charmed. Shout out to Charmed if you've ever watched it. Love that show. I don't know if you guys can see, but do you see that there's like a literal fence there? I'm just so confused as to why they cared enough to do that, because there's literally no houses, no nothing. I am literally in LA right now. This is like my pool for the unit, super cute.
So you have reached the end of the video, babe. And just remember, it's me and you till the end, babe. Unless I'm in a coffin, it's me and you till the end.
Well, we're back discussing generational differences between baby boomers and Gen Z. Now, years ago, talking about mental health was stigmatized, but today, Gen Zers are more open about it than ever before, and I'm very happy about that. Who feels that Gen Z is more fragile than previous generations? Raise your hand. Yeah. Do you think they're more sensitive, more fragile? You said you think that your generation is much more open. Why are comedians not even willing to come on college campuses anymore? Because they're scared to death they're going to say something that offends.
It's not just an impression. I mean, polling shows you what Generation Z thinks of concepts like free speech or freedom of expression, and they think things like hate speech need to be stopped. And that's one of the lessons they're learning wrong from history. There's a lot that we can take from past generations that they actually got right, and free speech is definitely one of those things, because progress that Gen Z cares about can only happen when you have free speech.
What do you want to say?
Well, I was just going to say, I think that there's a misconception that cancel culture or social repercussions is something new. It's not. I mean, we saw the Chicks, who were formerly known as the Dixie Chicks. I believe that they criticized the war on terror, and there were parties to burn their CDs and radio stopped playing their music. Right. So social repercussions have always existed. I think that just as a generation, we're becoming more aware of how bigotry, even if it's in the form of a joke, really negatively impacts people. And so I think that while social repercussions are nothing new, what we penalize people for saying is changing. And I think that that's a positive thing.
The stereotypes used in comedic stand-up is just simply like not okay anymore. So you can say whatever you want, but you need to also be ready for like the repercussions of what you say.
Okay, you're not free to say whatever you want if you get fired for an off-color joke.
Okay.
How would you feel when it's you who's out of step with the social mores of the
and
day?
then you get the repercussions of what you said.
I think you're still acting like this is something new, though. People have been fired.
Well, I'm not, but two wrongs don't make a right.
People have been fired for things that they've said for forever. But now we're seeing an era where if you're disrespectful or bigoted towards someone, you get fired for that. I don't see that as a bad thing.
But it's a lot more that's been caught up.
The point is, the threshold has really gotten low.
Yes.
That it happens much more. What do you want to say?
I think that
I don't think we're fragile.
I don't think Generation Z is fragile. I don't think they're fragile at all. Are they more sensitive about things? That could be argued. It could be discussed. That's true. But I also think part of that sensitivity, we're just seeing it more because you're out there on social media more.
Right.
So we're seeing more of who you are, and I think that's a great thing. You know, Generation Z, they are going to be 30% of the workforce in less than 10 years. So the fact that they want to talk about mental health, they want to freely express how they feel, if they don't like what somebody has to say, we just can't discount that, because they are going to be a big part of the workforce. They're going to be, you know, the future politicians, the future CEOs. So understanding them and giving them a solid foundation to move forward, move on, that's important.
Greg, do you think we're shaping them to be more fragile?
I mean, in the data, yes. I mean, the rates of depression, we're talking about, you know, 112% increase in major depression for girls, 109% for boys. Something very serious is going on. And I really want to address the idea that what's going on currently with regard to free speech is in any way normal. We checked our latest data on attempts to get professors canceled on campus. It's 770. It involves over 40 tenured professors getting fired. You didn't have these kind of numbers even during McCarthyism. So the idea that this is just business as usual is just wrong. They're going to be studying this in 100 years and be like, what on earth happened?
Yeah, and this really started kicking up around 2013, 14, when they started medicalizing these words, essentially, by saying, this hurts me, this damages me. You know, I grew up with the old saw, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words shall never hurt you. But that changed when they started saying, this hurts me, I don't feel safe. Now it had to be dealt with by administration.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like we're whispering into people's ears, by the way, you can't really handle life on your own, and if you hear things or are confronted with things that really bother you, you'll be permanently damaged. It's not that young people are not naturally fragile, but the messages, particularly they're giving them on college campuses, make them feel fragile.
I feel like we're just wanting to be heard, and I don't think that there's necessarily anything wrong. I don't think that that makes us fragile. I just think we want to be heard.
I do think we've taken it a little bit too far, because in past generations, you know, mental health, therapy, these things were stigmatized, and that literally got people killed. They didn't get the care they need. But nowadays, it's almost so far to the other extreme that it can be trendy or cool or get you attention to have a disorder, to have something. We've literally seen massive TikTokers busted for faking different mental illnesses. That's when you know you're valorizing the wrong things.
But I don't think that affects the general Gen Z masses that are going on TikTok and having their feelings hurt. If you hurt my feelings and I post a video that my feelings are hurt and I see Gen Zers caring, and then there's that one person that's like, oh, get over it. Okay, that's fine. But it's like, I feel like my generation has more people just being like, you know what, like this did hurt my feelings. So I don't know. I don't think
I don't think there's anything better than giving your feelings a voice. I think it's great for people to talk about their feelings and what's going on. On average, how long does Gen Z stay at a job? The answer may surprise you, and I'll talk to you when we come back.
You're leaving us $31 trillion in debt. We will be paying off what you guys enjoyed for the rest of our lives. So I'm sorry. I can see why we look at y'all and say, okay, boomer.
Besties, look at how bad this weather is right now. I literally just got a tornado warning. My car keeps shaking around. So wish us luck. And I literally just wanted to update you guys because I was like, whoa, bitch.
Brunch. All about a healthy work-life structure. My emotions matter. Be right there. I'm going on a hot girl walk. God, I forgot to film my morning routine. Honestly, my opinion on that is like...
Hey, Dr. Phil, I'm so excited to be on your show. I'm most definitely running late to the literal flight that you booked me, but I'm coming! I am coming, Dr. Phil! Thank you for inviting me, babe. I love you.
We're back having an open discussion between boomers and zoomers and addressing the grievances these generations have with one another. and we're talking about work ethic, societal values, that type of thing. You wanted to say something before we went to break.
Yeah, we are on TikTok. We're the baby boomers, and we have followers. And you're absolutely right. We have a lot of people, younger people, that come to us as we're mother figures, this and that. However, what I really have seen is a lot of ageism, which I'm not used to that. And it comes from a younger generation of people that are saying, go back to Facebook, you know,
Right.
you know, we shouldn't be on, calling us grandmas. None of us are grandmothers. You know, things like that, which I was surprised at just because the younger generation I heard was all inclusive.
Right.
And so I thought, oh, we're going to be welcomed. And it was really interesting to find that we really have to talk our way through things, and we learned how to block people. So,
Picking up on the technology. So she's talking about they call themselves the baby boomers, and who says they can't dance? Let's take a look.
Oh.
That looked like fun. That did. I couldn't do that forever. Not for me. I've tried dancing. My knees don't want to do it. And, you know, you have a kind of a unique perspective on this that I don't think represents, and I don't think you can generalize about any group of people, but since I knew you were coming, I've been paying attention to you and your messages and what you do.
I feel like some of my Gen Z, you know, fellow people, they might not be the nicest, but that doesn't mean we're all mean. Like, I feel like if I would have saw that on my For You page, I wouldn't have wrote, I would have liked it. I'd be like, slay, like.
Thank you.
So I really just feel like some people may not be the nicest, and I love that you learned the block button. I really, honestly, I don't block as many because I'm like, whatever, they're gonna talk about me, but I definitely feel like the block button's there for a reason, and some people are just rude.
Yeah.
But when I saw you guys, I thought you guys were great. Like, I complimented your skin, your hoops. I was like, yes!
A manager in Indiana posted, "Help wanted, only for boomers and not Gen Z."
Low-key, that sounds illegal. Open discrimination and bragging about it.
If you hire me, I'll work every day for 40 years, but after that, I will need some time off to drop dead. Wow, the energy is weird here. Okay, I don't have much experience, but I think a VP role will suffice. I'll need 4 days off a week because I have anxiety and lower back pain brought on by childhood trauma. My parents were racist. I'm leaving for Venezuela in a month because I'm opening a coffee shop where I'll be employing baristas from the indigenous LGBTQ+ community. By the way, how is the diversity and inclusion here? I will need to talk with an HR department before I begin next month because I need this month to decompress. I'm so stressed out. The moon's in half Venus. Don't yell.
Well, what about the work ethic of Gen Z? What do you guys think about this younger generation and how they work, don't work, move around, job-wise, what they expect?
Well, I don't like stereotypes of any kind. I think there are ambitious, industrious people in your generation. There were, in our generation, there were also deadbeats. It's just a very, you know, it's so individual.
You know, if you're seeing at Dollar Tree on your timeline, that's because they're under fire after a manager in Indiana posted, "Help wanted, but only for boomers and not Gen Z because, quote, don't know what work actually means." And then I apologize for us closing again. My 2 new cashiers quit because I said their boyfriends couldn't stand here for their entire shift. Don't hire Gen Z. They don't know what work actually means. Now hiring baby boomers only. Thanks.
Wow.
So apparently they had a problem with, I guess,
But I think they're being
boyfriends showing up.
Yeah, right. You can't assume that because a few Gen Z people they're all like that. And also, like, low-key, that sounds illegal. open discrimination and bragging about it.
I think Dollar Tree agreed with you because they did put up this statement. The manager in question is no longer employed by the company, and Dollar Tree released a statement that it did not approve or condone the sign. John's a professor, and he says his Gen Z students are lazy, less motivated, only interested in themselves, and need to socialize more, that they're consumed by their phones. You say if somebody's up giving a presentation or whatever, not them, they don't even pay attention to it.
They seem to want to focus on their phones more than listening and learning. So it's frustrating for me sometimes. Again, not generalizing that all students are like that, but a lot of them are on their phones while I'm talking. And I say, if you need to talk on your phone, you can go outside and talk on your phone.
Are they failing?
No, because of grade inflation. Grade inflation scares me.
What is grade inflation?
They all expect to get A's no matter what. But years ago, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
I've been teaching for almost 40 years, and I feel a lot of pressure on myself to give the students at least a C, even if they're not doing an adequate amount of work.
Oh.
Which, first and foremost, thank you for being like a teacher and a professor. Like when I was in school, I always, you know, I'm not going to say I was a perfect person. Yeah, I have a little bit of attitude.
But again, I've learned also from your generation that I have to understand where you're coming from.
Do you think we like waste our time on our phones, essentially?
No, because I'm turning into one of you. I'm on my phone all the time now.
Right.
Oh, he's going to the dark side.
I get a message from Apple that says you were on your phone for 5 hours a day last week. I'm like, oh my God, I'm turning into a Gen Z person.
All right, what's another thing that Gen Zers blame the baby boomers for? We'll talk about that next. I'd like to know, does the younger generation feel they're dealing with what the older generation has left behind? Because that's kind of a generational thing. Do you feel like baby boomers have left you a mess behind?
Yes.
What?
We're talking about anxiety, depression, stuff. It's like, how is it not like hard to be all those things when you feel like the planet is dying? No matter how hard you work, you can't afford to live on your own. Like living on your own as a young person is seen almost as a luxury now. Like it's just super hard. And like when you're a professor, right? And like he said, thank you so much for being a professor. You're very underappreciated.
Very underappreciated. That's why I thanked you.
It's very stressful for me, that's for sure.
But we also feel like a lot of Gen Zers go into debt to get higher education, we feel like our degrees don't get us anywhere. So like that is a lot of stress. And all these things all together is just, you could only imagine like how we feel like on the daily trying to be better in our lives.
And you're not even mentioning what I think is so appalling is gun violence. That is what has really increased for Generation Z. And I think that the older generation has left you vulnerable to that.
You're leaving us $31 trillion in debt.
Yeah,
past generations, baby boomers, silent generation, they lived beyond their means. They wanted all these benefits they weren't willing to pay for. It's up to $250,000 per taxpayer. We will be paying off what you guys enjoyed for the rest of our lives. So I'm sorry. I can see why we look at y'all and say, okay, boomer.
Well, okay, but I got to clarify. I'm not a boomer. Okay, so I am an Xer. So, like, let's put me right. But yes, no, you're right. And I also think that's why Generation Z is rethinking college.
I disagree with some of that because rethinking college, there are jobs and options that you all have that we didn't have. That pays a lot of money. There's a lot of benefits to it. So like, for instance, somebody goes to school for 8 years or 6 years to become a therapist. Well, you all can be a life coach. You can take a class like that will make you a life coach and address some of these same issues without the academic knowledge that comes with it. And you're saying that it's hard for you to live? Well, imagine what it is with all the prices that have gone up because of some of the things like technology. Like the phone that we showed a minute ago, that was $6 a month, right? Now my phone is $120 a month. And we have to continue to keep working. Like, we'll be working longer. I hear what you're saying about, oh, well, we're going to work longer. Well, you're 20, 30 years old, right? Well, now I'll be 68 tomorrow, and you know what? I'm going to be working until I'm 70, okay? Because I can't afford not to stop working or reduce the numbers of hours that I work, because now, thanks to millennials and you all being able to pay higher rent, pay for Apple phones and all of this, the cost has just gone up to where if we want to use some of these things, then it costs us more as well.
Joining us virtually is a Gen Z entrepreneur and podcaster who has interviewed entrepreneurs, politicians, and more, and he hasn't even graduated college yet. So joining us from Cornell University is Jesse Kay. So how do you feel when boomers say youth equals inexperience, Jesse?
Well, thanks for having me, Dr. Phil. I appreciate it. I think there's a common misconception that Gen Zers are both unexperienced and lazy. I think we have different skills. So while we might not have the lessons and life lessons and time that baby boomers are, we have unique skills like digital and social media and knowing how to activate a following online to be mission-based. So I think, yes, we might require more flexibility, but we're also more efficient and we care about common issues and get behind them online.
I'm curious, when you sign emails, how do you do it?
I think so. It depends on the context of how I'm doing it. If it's in a professional work setting, I think best is still the common way. Otherwise, I think it depends. With friends, I kind of put my initials. In a work setting, you put thanks. In a professional environment, you put best. With my professors, I go super specific and go best. And thank you for being a professor. We appreciate you. And I have to miss a class right now to do this. So thank you, and I appreciate what you guys do. But I'm doing it remote, so I didn't have to fly to LA and miss another day of class. So thank you to Cornell for doing a great job in helping me with this.
Yeah, well, we wanted you to be part of it. And, you know, when you look at how people sign off, you can see it here. You know, baby boomers are like sincerely, Gen X are thanks, millennials are best, Gen Z, hasta la pasta. So it's really different, more informal, but I mean, it doesn't bother me one way or the other.
I do best regards.
Yeah.
I feel like whenever I'm writing an email, I do best regards, and then I just put like my name. Definitely not going to do hasta la pasta. Imagine me sending that to someone. Come on. I definitely do best regards.
You know what I've learned in restaurants when you have a young waiter, and I'll go, thank you. It used to be, you're welcome. Now it's, of course. And it took me a while to get used to that.
We've talked a lot about differences today, but are Gen Zers and baby boomers more similar than maybe they think? We'll be right back.
Liliana, where are you? You're late. Hey, man, yeah, I just woke up. I'm gonna take a nap, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it in today. The weather's just not giving. What? Yeah, just like the barometric pressure or something. It's like sending me. Wait, so why can't you come in? Oh my God, not you, not understanding me. Basically, today's just not the vibe. The weather seems sus and I'm low-key anxious. So you can't come in because of your anxiety? Bet.
Do any of y'all think there are more similarities here than maybe you thought there were when you came in?
I think there's more similarities. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think there are like huge differences between these two? Raise your hand. Okay. Your student debt is in the news right now, and a lot of students are coming out in debt anywhere from $75,000, $150,000, $200,000. And we're saying if the colleges and universities are not preparing students for the real world, if they're not toughing them up, if they're not giving them a diversity of thought, if they're not giving them what they need to deal with the challenges they're going to face in a competitive world, what justifies doing it? If these colleges aren't really preparing them, why do it?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I'm always surprised that Gen Z isn't more adamant about is reforming higher ed so it doesn't, the expenses of it that results in costs keep going up and up and up. So for example, Biden just did loan forgiveness of $10,000 for some and $20,000 for people who qualified for Pell Grants. I could have supported that if it was tied to something that would decrease the overall expensiveness of college, because what people don't understand is that $70,000 you're paying for at Sarah Lawrence College, that's coming from a massive expansion of staff and bureaucracy, things that aren't related to rigor, things that aren't related to quality. And we're putting a generation in horrible debt for that. And we do the forgiveness without anything to lower the expensiveness and the expansion of the administrative class. I think it's setting up people for a disaster. I think it's been very hard on both. I'm Gen X. It's been hard on Gen X, but it's particularly hard on millennials and Gen Z. And it can't keep going this way.
I'd like to introduce Milky Tran, writer and director at Jubilee, a media and entertainment company here in L.A. with over 12 million subscribers. Milky, where are you?
I'm
There
over
you are
here.
back there. Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you, Dr. Phil.
You've been listening to all of this, and
Yeah.
Is there that big a difference between this generation and baby boomers, or is this just a media phenomenon because it's so on display by the social platforms?
Well, you know, I think working at Jubilee, our mission is to provoke understanding and create human connection. We are a platform that wants to depolarize and create spaces where we can really understand and find middle ground. And through our series, Middle Ground, which you play at the opening of the show, that's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to connect with each other and understand our differences because I think our values are more aligned than we may think.
Yeah, and you know, as I've really gotten into this and looked at so many of y'all's videos and listened to the things that all of you that we talked to ahead of time said in pre-interviews, wow, it just seemed to me that there are a lot of commonalities. We'll be right back.
Oh my God, hi. So this is gonna be a really chill interview. Oh my God, is that a paper resume? Business bitch. Okay, I'll look at it. So like, tell me like, what is your vibe in a team structure? Are you a Pisces? I'm dead. I knew it. So it seemed dope. Like I definitely you. So I'm gonna like move you to the next round. Yes, love this for you. Gotta go.
I work with different people and different stories all the time. I think it's just a matter of talking to each other, and it doesn't matter about style. It doesn't matter about haircuts. It doesn't matter about any of that. It's what's really inside. And I think that's what's really important.
Sometimes some people think just because we don't agree with some things that you guys agree with, that doesn't necessarily mean that we want the worst for you.
Yes, and we all just went through COVID together, so I feel
Right.
that bonded us because we've spent 2 years in our homes on lockdown.
We had to learn Zoom.
We had to learn a lot.
Exactly. It did a lot. It did a lot for, I think, every generation. Like, it's scary when, especially when you go through like a pandemic, everyone was locked in their house. However, we grew up learning with technology. You guys were like, it fell into your lap. You're like, oh crap, my kid's using this. How do I do this?
So my mom is 92, still teaches dance. She learned Zoom. She's on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook.
Right. And
Thank you.
Matters. I think just because it takes you a little bit longer doesn't mean that it's not meant for you.
I think this has been a really good conversation. So I really thank everybody for being here and talking about this. It's an important subject matter, and I really think it's important that we share like this. So I'm glad everybody did. For more information about today's episode, if you'd like to share your story, log on to drphil.com. Technology. If you want to add your voice to the conversation, you can find me. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I even have a TikTok account. If you're in Los Angeles area or you plan to be, we'd love to have you join us in a studio audience. Just go to drphil.com and click on Be Part of the Audience for all the details. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to my podcast, Fill in the Blanks. We talk about a lot of critical issues and things that you tell us are important. And you can also find Robin's podcast, I've Got a Secret. She talks to real innovators, people that have put together amazing lives, and they talk about the secrets that they really use to create their existence in this world, and some very interesting people. You can find them both on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate it from everybody. We'll see you next time.